What up, what up, what up? Classic Conversations again. As always, I'm fresh. As always, this is Victor. Yeah. We just got finished talking about YG, but we didn't get a chance to finish the question. So it's a great place to start this one. Can YG continue the marathon as well as carry the mantle of the most inspirational individual out of the West Coast hip-hop scene? Obviously, we know that he was a great friend of Nip, and a couple of the clips that we put up on the Classic Conversations Instagram page and other interviews that he's put up. He obviously said that a lot of the conversations that he had with Nip was like deep conversations. You know what I mean, about all of those things that we have credited to Nip and credited him as being like a champion for entrepreneurship, group economics, literacy of different things, right? So, and then you can, like I said, you can kind of bless your soul. Okay, more and more blessings, more and more blessings.
Thank you.
All right. Obviously, you can kind of see in some of the records on his album, especially what was the one that I said, Hard Bottoms and White Socks, where he showed his maturity and some of the things that he.
Damn.
Bless you again.
Just edit that out.
Nah, delete that shit in. Hard Bottoms and White Socks, I say it again. Some of the things he was talking about in there showed the maturity and showed a lot that he picked up a lot from Nip, but kind of going forward, being that he...
Just keep talking. I'll be back. You can handle the show.
I got it. Look, hey y'all, it's the Fresh Show. Yeah, but what was the shit again? Hold on, that was
Hard Bottoms and White Socks.
The Hard Bottoms and White Socks. Okay, yeah. So Hard Bottoms and White Socks, he definitely showed a lot of maturation, as well as showed that he was listening to the shit that Nipsey was telling him about. So, goddamn, another sneeze. Okay, now I'm scared. But yeah. So basically, can he continue? Being that Nip spent a lot of, I guess let's say, time with just him explaining that in personal conversation, knowing that he's the one that has the stature, right? Nip might have had that conversation with a bunch of other people, but YG the other person from the West that has that same stature. So do you think he can, knowing the blueprint and the knowing what the marathon is, do you see him being able to contribute, not even contribute, but continue the marathon? I'm talking about the whole thing, rather, not just the musically, but entrepreneurially.
Yeah, entrepreneurially and all that stuff.
And do you think he even wants to?
I think it goes back to like people being like, when they ask certain people are they role models, or like when they asked Charles Barkley who his role model, was he a role model, and he was like, no, I'm not a role model type stuff. I think it goes back to like that. Like I think only YG could really answer that question fully if he wants to or not. Because I don't know if he wants to or not. But
right.
I mean, it's hard to say. Like the impact Nip had and the mind that he had was much different, and it's more so like somebody like Nip. I feel like that gotta be in you more so rather than like planted in you. You feel me? Like I'm not saying YG not a hustler or all that type of stuff, but just the stuff that Nip was doing was a little bit cut to a different cloth as far as the magnitude went, and just the way Nip carried himself just as a businessman. And I mean, of course, Nip was older than YG because YG was born in 1990, I think. So, I mean, I'm born in 92, so I mean, he like, what, 29? Yeah, 29. So, 29, 33 is still a big gap, you know what I'm saying, 4 more years of experience between him and Nip. But I think it's hard to say. As far as like in Los Angeles, I mean, it wouldn't be the same impact just because, YG from Compton. So, just, if you from LA, like, LA and Compton, 2 different places. If you're not from LA, now you do know LA and Compton is 2 different places. Culturally, demographically, like, the gangs in Compton don't beef with LA gangs. It's too far. Like, nobody has time to, not to say it like that, but drive and do a mission on the other side of the LA
County.
County.
Fucking gas too high.
Drive, right, gas too high, and it's too far of a drive back to do anything illegal, and drive all the way back to on the freeway on the 105.
Shit, and I had to get back and get a fill up.
Right, I mean that's where J Rock said 105. I'm stumping fast. Big guns, they hella dirty, but you know that's the type of shit niggas be risking. But not to even go that far with it though. But with the YG thing, I think he can, but it just got to be in his own way. It ain't never gonna be like in the Nip way, I guess you could say. But I think he can carry it out in his own significant way.
I think so. I hope so. I really do, cause I'm rooting for all these young niggas. You know, the old niggas too. I really hope that hip hop really does have a conscience. Cause I think we all got to take care of ourselves. A lot of times we like to look at celebrities or artists, people that are making more money than us, as if they are not subject to the same things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? As if they don't go through the same things we do. Obviously, they're in a different tax bracket. They have a little more money to pay for things, and I have to, go through some of the things we do. But I feel like
still get more issues. There's more.
Like they could say more money, more problems. So I think that we all have an opportunity, I say, to unify, as outside of money and how much we make, just the fact that we are who we are. And I really hope that these artists in their maturation and when they start getting older and start understanding things a little bit more, because even as much as we credit Nip, early Nip wasn't the same as older Nip.
No, for sure. Came with a process.
It came with a process, and I think that's just all of us go through that. Growing older, seeing life differently. This perspective of, for instance, the perspective of getting out the hood. I'm sure Nip in the hood was different the first time he traveled the country, then traveled the world, see new things and explore new things and new terrain. I'm sure that experience probably changed him a lot too. So I really hope to see I could be excited about the maturation of YG is what I'm really excited to see. But I think he has some moments on this record that show that he definitely grew.
I feel like a lot of LA artists in general, like Dom too, Dom and YG, like their projects that they work on, because he even said in the interviews like all this music was recorded prior to the Nip situation, but
right.
I think the music that'll come following that will be both of their some of their best works to put out, just because of the emotion and the grieving that's going into it.
Well, they were talking about doing a record, YG, Dom, and Nip, from what YG was saying. I still want to see if I'm not sure if it would be the same dynamic, but I want to still see if Dom and YG could at least do some records together.
I mean, they got records together, so I'm pretty sure.
Like a project, at least an EP or a couple singles or something. You know what I mean?
That would have been hard though. Nip, YG, and Dom. That would have been a dummy hard project.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow,
and keep in mind, I think he did say there's some records out there within 3.
I'm pretty sure it is.
And he said there was a significant amount of Nip records that'll still see the light of day.
Okay. So,
shit, I'm sure everybody's waiting to see that shit. Absolutely, without question. But then that kind of brings us in. We asked if YG could continue the marathon. There's definitely a play on continue the marathon by the Crips LLC. Right. The incorporation of the Crips, and I believe they're saying it's the South Central Crips and not the Atlanta Crips. I think it was the Crips when Killer Mike.
Oh yeah,
right.
Okay.
I believe they specified it's the South Central Crips that have attempted. It might be more than attempt. They might have got it already, but to trademark the marathon.
Okay.
Right. So
talking about the TMC flag.
The logo and the name, the whole title, the marathon.
Wow.
Right, because Nip didn't have a trademark, which is crazy, and it's crazy to me that he didn't have a will. You know what I mean? But
yeah, but he had a trust though.
Yeah, it's kind of you have when you go through probate court, you have to have both.
Really?
Yeah, because you have to have a last will and testament. That's the final one. But if you have a will and a trust or a trust, you have the last will and testament is really what has to what's final without question. But even then, to exercise it, you still have to go through probate court. and anybody can come in and contest it and say this person is not fit for continuance. And so that's where you got Blacc Sam going to the court asking for his estate and for custody. And it's really kind of depends on who really gets custody of his daughter, which is why the baby mama's trying to, you know, from what I've heard, she's actually she's going to fight it. Like, you know, obviously to get custody. She now wants custody. Whereas Blacc Sam is, you know, everybody is rooting for Blacc Sam, but she wants custody now. It's because there's money tied to it. Because she's next to kin.
For sure.
Right. So.
For sure.
But yeah, what you think?
Damn near just as much tied in as Lauren London is contractually. I guess you can say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely gonna be a drama. It's gonna be a soap opera going forward with this estate. But
for sure,
I really don't know how I feel about the marathon going to anybody other than Blacc Sam.
For sure, because that's really his store.
It's his.
People really don't know that. Like, that whole storefront was his idea for the most part. He the person that ran it. He was the operator of the store. Shit, really the brains behind the store, all that type of shit. So it shouldn't really go to nobody but him. But damn near, it's kind of like playing with this Nip shit. It's damn near like, if it's not some rich protected white man, I'll definitely feel sorry for whoever, you know what I'm saying, come out with the trademark or the name if it ain't theirs, because I feel like that's gonna be definitely some issues coming their way.
Man, I don't know, dude. Like, the fact that it came so close to home, it wasn't some, like you said, some white dude that saw a business opportunity. It's niggas that's supposed to, he represented.
But
right?
At the same time, we don't never know who the Crips LLC is.
If it's anybody other than Blacc Sam, again, I can't, like, if me and you put something together and I'll pass and it's what we did together, you got to get that. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
but if somebody else that's in the studio with it, go and take it.
I'm saying it could be a random person that got the Crips LLC that bought it, because I remember when I was in college, the fucking local bank and this wasn't a local bank, but it was a bank in the Midwest. They LLC, their website expired. You feel me? And we was able to try to buy it. We was too broke to buy it. You feel me?
That's a play that niggas do, but I believe what they're saying is this one, the Crips holding company is
that's crazy, dude.
Is the South LA Crips. It depends on whose
right.
story you read that said it. There was one that said it specifically. It was a South LA Crips.
Hopefully that's not.
Because I know that they also associated it with the niggas who started Cripocola, but I know that was Killer Mike and his people was out of state. So, you know, I don't know. The question is, who, and more so, why not Blacc Sam? Because he's the only one who has claim to that shit. Yeah. I hope he fight that shit. Cause
we gotta wait to see the evidence for real.
Because whoever it is that grabbed it, if it's not Blacc Sam, it's definitely just an opportunity of a come up and an opportunity, and not on some shit that's old or shit that niggas put any money into or invested in on their own. I can't see that. I definitely can't see that.
I'm with you.
But I think that, I believe that's the same shit happened to the Eastsiders. They never trademarked their name, and I forget who it was.
The record label took that name, didn't they?
Huh?
Didn't the record label do that?
No, it was somebody that was around them for a long time. Somebody that was just a party just around them. Somebody in the circle, maybe somebody a little bit wiser, and took the name because they found out that they didn't, and then got it themselves, and then they had to go and request usage of the Eastsiders.
Yeah, that's crazy.
From some third party.
That's a whole bunch of people that happened to, for real.
Yeah, so, I guess if y'all don't learn nothing, artists, business, entrepreneurs, anybody, we talk about paperwork, contracts, having your paperwork right. If you starting something, you got logos and slogans and titles and different things, get your copyrights, get your DBA set up, and definitely get your trademarks, because somebody gonna let you do the hard work and then come in and swoop in and take your trademark, and you gotta ask them for legal authority to continue doing business as that entity. So shit. If we don't say it enough, and I don't think we could really say it enough times, have your paperwork right. I'm really surprised at Nip not having a trademark, but I think that just comes to the fact that he wasn't born into this. There were definitely things that he was being taught, and I'm sure he would have caught that had he been given more time. But it's fucked up that potentially people around him would take advantage of that shit and definitely take advantage of Blacc Sam. If it is the same, these South LA Crips, then that would be dirty.
Man, that shit would be crazy, dude. Speaking of dirty, I heard Mike Tyson fired on Wack 100. What you think? You think it's true? I was trying to...
We know when they aired, because they definitely, I saw on Wack Instagram, they called him, the people from the podcast, and said, do we have your consent to air it? So they're going to air the whole podcast, even with the little scuffle.
He said he got his consent?
He said it in his Instagram. He said on the Instagram, like, this is my consent. Like, air that shit, because he want people to see that he swung first.
I mean, you get credit for that, or you get credit for...
I mean, it take balls to swing on my Iron Mike.
I mean, but at the same time, it's like, the nigga hands is registered. He's not going to do that much to you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
because he go to jail.
Even if it's a couple lumps, it's like, even if you lose really to Mike Tyson, it's kind of like, it's Mike Tyson. But at the end of it, I feel like he know what he was doing. It's kind of like fighting in front of the police.
Who?
I'm saying, I compare it to, like, somebody trying to fight Mike Tyson, I compare it to trying to fight in front of the police, because you know it's only going to go to a certain extent. It can only go so far.
I mean, I don't know. It depends on what type of Mike Tyson we talking about. Because once upon a time, Mike Tyson didn't have control. There was no amount of control that you was going to
But I mean, these days, I mean, I would assume, off of all the interviews I've seen, he's very, very, very at peace, very much so at peace with himself. But I know he's not taking no bullshit still.
Nah, he definitely had something to say about it on his Instagram. Like, I guess Wack put it like, oh, it's a scuffle between friends. Mike Tyson shit said everybody think they got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. At Wack 100.
Oh, he was talking about the Tupac shit, though. When you say he disrespected Tupac.
Yeah, so I guess, like,
I'm wondering what's going to happen, though.
Huh?
I wonder what it's going to look like. I'm interested to see. Everybody's interested to see.
I
think the majority of people in the world are wanting to see Wack 100 get his head punched in. I think just because of all the antics they see of Wack 100, like, not really knowing the origin of who he really is, and that's not saying, like, we want to see him get his head punched in and that type of shit. I'm just saying in general.
Oh, yeah, that's a consensus.
I'm saying the general consensus of consumers on the internet, I think, would like to see that happen to him.
Some other niggas, but
for sure.
I read a lot of the comments, and a lot of niggas are literally waiting for that. They want to see that. I mean, I just think...
It's my TV one.
I mean, there's just some things that I'm gonna say it. There's some things about that Wack has done and said that I don't in the least bit agree with, especially the Tupac shit, right?
Right.
But I think it showed something for him to be so upfront with it. Like, you know, he was like, yeah, we got in a fight. You know, I swung on him. You know, instead of like some niggas would do, like, oh boy, that got knocked out by the baby.
Oh yeah.
And then came back and said, "Oh, them niggas are scratching. They scratched me." But the nigga got video of the nigga knocked out with his pants down, right? So I think it said something that Wack didn't shy from it, didn't run from it.
You can't though. You can't run from it, because then if Mike Tyson be like, okay, he don't want us to put it out because he don't want to give his consent. Then the internet going back to why you don't want to give consent. You feel me?
I mean, but yeah, I mean, so yeah, I can see that. I can see that as a. Then that's the question. Is it just really just being straight up and being a man? Or is it like, well, I know what could happen, especially after watching this shit with the baby and shit. If you deny it and the video come out and then niggas see your ass on the ground with your pants hanging down, with your nose bloody and shit, you can't run from the video. You know what I mean? So is it just, that's the only option he had, was to face it head on? Or do you think it's like, okay, scuffle between men, nothing? Because I'm from the school of thought that, you know, that Friday shit, right? What Pops told Craig and nigga, you live to fight another day. If you get a straight head up with somebody, win or lose, you took that fade, right? This new generation, or this new thing that they do when they take the video and they post it and you get laughed at for for losing. Nah, I think the win is the fact that you wasn't scared and you took that fade. You win some, you lose some, right? Nobody always wins, even the toughest nigga. There's big niggas got little niggas that done whip their ass and vice versa. Yeah. So I think it is commendable that he took that fade and wasn't afraid to fade Mike Tyson, even though there have been some times that I didn't agree with his tactics and the things that he
Mike
did.
Tyson's?
I think Wack 100.
Okay.
But I do think that as a man coming from that era where you take that fade, win lose, you take that fade. He swung on Mike Tyson.
Okay. I mean,
just as a man shit, like not even on no just Mike
yeah.
Tyson shit. The fact is, he took that fade. Yeah, and you take that loss as a G2. And I think he did that in this case. Even though, like I said, I do think that there have been times where there have been tactics or things that I didn't agree with him on. But I think on this one, and again, it could be negotiable whether or not he did it for whatever reason. But whatever the reason he did this, I commend him for that because he took the fade.
Okay.
I don't agree with it. I definitely don't agree with what
Right.
started it. The Tupac shit, nah, because I feel like Mike on that. Tupac was a gangster. He was every bit of everything he was. But I think in this one, differences, goddamn, that's what it is. I think that's commendable.
No, for sure. I mean, we're gonna see. We're gonna see.
Now, if you watch the video and it don't say the same story or something different, that's another time. That's another conversation. But from what's been said on both sides at this point, I commend Wack for being straight up about it. That's in that fashion, in that instance, that's some real man shit. That's some G shit. Take the fade, win, lose, or draw. You took the fade.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree with that.
Yeah. So we hold it off there and until the next time. I'm Fresh.
I'm Big.
Classic Conversations. Join the conversation.
Enjoying the sneezing.
And the sneezing. Like, subscribe, comment. Like, subscribe, comment.